Let's bring in NBC News reporter Ben Collins, who broke the story of the alleged manifesto written by the Buffalo shooter. Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and associate editor of The Washington Post and MSNBC political analyst Eugene Robinson, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation and president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton, and the host of Way Too Early and White House bureau chief at Politico, Jonathan Lemire. Rev, you look at all the instances where white replacement theory, which has been pushed by House Republicans, pushed by a powerful news network, pushed by people on social media, and you do see that it's whites, a white killing blacks in a mass shooting in Charleston, and then in New Zealand, and then killing Hispanics in El Paso, and killing blacks again in Buffalo, killing Jews in Pittsburgh in 2018 in a synagogue. It is sadly, tragically, it is a conspiracy theory that has deadly impact.
It is definitely a conspiracy theory that has definite and clear impact, and it continues to happen. And we keep going to these scenes of these grotesque murders like this is not becoming some continuity of political expression by some who may be weaker-minded, but are influenced by people that have now become the maintainers of the mainstream. Let's not forget, Joe, this young person that is being held as the shooter in Buffalo is 18 years old. He was around 15, maybe 14, when Charlottesville happened, when whites marched through the streets saying, "Jews will not replace me." And the then president of the United States said they'll find people on both sides, which in some automatic way says the young, impressed minds like that, there's nothing wrong with reading these manifestos. There's nothing wrong with having these kinds of feelings. They're not marginalized. And I think that we are beginning, you and I are Baptists in the best tradition. You reap what you sow. We have sowed these kinds of hate seeds. We have allowed them to fester, and we've legitimatized or normalized them. And we should not be surprised. The only question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to aggressively fight it? Are we going to show empathy where we ought to show aggressive resistance?
Yeah, Gene Robinson, you two were in Charleston with us after that tragic church shooting. It seems an understatement to say that this conspiracy theory has only gained steam, and as the Rev said, has become so mainstream, not only on a powerful cable news network, but you now have House Republican leaders who are putting it in Facebook ads.
That's the thing. That's the thing, Joe. It's two things. First of all, no one should call the person accused of this horrific and just unspeakable crime a lone gunman. He had backup. Yes. He had backup from the killers who came before him in Charleston, in El Paso, in Pittsburgh, and in New Zealand. He had that backup, and he also had backup from those who are playing footsie with this replacement theory in order to win votes, in order to win television ratings, in order to grift the American public in a way that is just unconscionable. And who are we talking about? Rev, you said we have enabled this. Who do you mean we? I mean, I'm going to point the finger at those who are doing it. Point the finger at people like Elise Stefanik, who's in the Republican leadership, who used to be just a kind of normal, small government, pro-business Republican, saw that was not the way to power, and then went completely MAGA. Wanted the party to burn Liz Cheney at the stake for being honest about what happened on January 6th, and now she's on Facebook. She's playing with great replacement theory and putting it out there in a way that is just unspeakable and unthinkable, but it's happening, and it's not just her. This is becoming part of the mainstream ideology of the Republican Party right now, and that is unacceptable, but it's happening, and when and how is it going to stop? Because this is going to continue. This is predictable. It's going to continue. There are going to be more of these.